one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Why did that throw us all so much? Okay. All right, we had executive session for personnel and legal matters. That was from 5:30 to 6 p.m. And Janet, may we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Beagle?
Here.
Mrs. Boyce?
Here.
Mrs. Burns?
Here.
Mrs. Delaney?
Here.
Mrs. McBride?
Here.
Mr. McIntyre?
Here.
Mr. Mock?
Here.
Mr. Ritter?
Here.
Mrs. Warning?
Here. Presentations and comments. We have Taylor Roberts is a student representative.
Go ahead. Alrighty, so hi, my name is Taylor Roberts. I'm Secretary of SGA, and I'm here to tell you about what's been going on at Gateway High School. Alright, so first I'm going to talk about what's been going on with some of our student government. So SGA held their annual community homecoming carnival along with the dance, which provided a good time for all involved. Gateway partnered with the Mazda Be Moved program and was able to raise $2,200 for the district that will be used towards PBIS and prom. Also, senior class council worked with the Red Cross to hold a blood drive. Other events held over the past few months include the Day of the Dead movie night, No Place for Hate event, and the Turkey Trot. So here are some of the amazing classroom opportunities that have been happening in some of our classrooms. One opportunity includes students having a chance to meet with board staff about being a lab tech, and then they provided students with slides to view under the microscope. Continuing on, now I'm going to talk about some of the exciting extracurriculars that students have been able to participate in at Gateway. To begin, Chick-fil-A Leadership Academy organized an angel tree to help students in the district with holidays. 7 families were helped by the program. Also, the Caring team raised $357 for the Caring in Place. And finally, the officers of the Mountain Bike Club met with the PA Interscholastic Cycling League. Now I'm going to talk about some of the field trips that our students have been able to experience. One of the recent field trips was the Activating Agency Summit, where students were able to talk about their mental health and wellness in a report that was later shared with the governor. Also, honors and anatomy classes had the opportunity to tour CMU and listen to a lecture about stem cell treatments for cancer. AIM students also had the opportunity to go to the Glass Center, partake in the Model UN, and watch the AGH heart surgery. And now I'm going to spotlight some of the students that have done extraordinary things within the school. Gateway's Calculus Solve team not only won first place, but had students Quentin Q and Daniel Vandos have the highest individual scores of the whole competition.
Wow.
Art students, this year's students and teachers were allowed to vote on pieces in the art show. The 4 winners were Madison Gottschalk, Hannah Prosser, Andrea Johnson, and Layla Rocco. And finally, Gateway seniors Parker Abel and Ethan Settlemeyer were admitted into PMEA District Chorus, where they performed a concert with 180 kids from across Western Pennsylvania. And that's all that I have today. Thank you for your time. And in those packets, it has a bit more of a detailed description about certain events and some of them that I didn't get into very in-depthly. They might have more explanation.
Thank you, Taylor, very much. Did you draw the short straw, flip the coin? And
She volunteered. She's like,
You
"I'll do it." I said, okay, thanks for that.
Wonderful. Yeah. None of us bit you, so you're good, right? So the heart surgery thing, huh? Like we have our students like on the pit themselves.
Did you get to go? I went on that trip. It was insane. You get to see the whole surgery from start to finish, and it's honestly very. You think it'd be very like messy and gory looking, but it's very sterile and clean looking, and it's.
Nice.
How long did that surgery last?
I want to say about like 2 to 4 hours, something.
Some-
And then the surgeon comes and talks to them.
Yeah.
Like he, we'll debrief and talk about the surgery, and so it's a great experience.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming and sharing.
Nice
with
job,
us.
Taylor.
I
Very good.
appreciate it. Nice
Yep.
job.
All right. Thanks, Ms. Sherry.
Thank you.
Can I bring up one thing related to this? The art highlights. I thought it was a really great idea. The night they had the high school holiday concert, they had the art show outside, which allowed people who normally may not go to the art show, who were there for the concert, because the whole one section was nothing but art. So I think it's nice the way they did it, because I think they had more people see it than normally would have. It was very nice to
Yeah.
see that way. I think it's a good idea to
Yeah,
continue
I'll
to
pass
do
it on to the art
Yeah,
department.
it was a great idea. It was a great idea.
Taylor, if I may introduce you, this is Leslie from the trip. She would like to get some of your notes so that she could put all the good stuff.
She has it already.
Yes, I got it.
Never
There we
mind.
go. And I also wrote a story on the, like I do every year on the art youth.
Yes, that was it.
In March. Oh, nice.
Yep.
Thank you both.
Great.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
You all have a great night.
You too.
Oh, good. Okay. Coach Hall.
Yes.
We have somebody for, we have Charlie Megan.
Yeah, Charlie Megan, the CEO of Digital Media, or Scoreboard Media, excuse me, Digital Scoreboards Company, who we've been in discussions with, and wanted to go ahead and talk to everyone tonight about the offer that they made to the district. So without any further ado, Charlie is on, and he's ready to go.
All right, great. Thanks, Don. Nice to see everyone. Thanks for having me. My colleague, Chris Weiler, is joining me just so that we could make sure we had all hands on deck and answer any questions. I'll just give you the 30,000-foot overview and then tell you specifically what we're looking to do at Gateway. And then I'll actually show you a few pictures because I think it helps to understand exactly what we're talking about and to see it for yourself. Jules, will you grab that door? Thanks. And so you can see it, and I think that answers a lot of questions right there. But we've done schools across Pennsylvania as part of this project and really across the country. So I'm happy to share all those pictures with you, or at least a good cross-section of those, as well as maybe some success stories, the type of advertisers we work with, which I think would be very important to everyone in this room, because you want to know that advertisers are going to be appropriate and in keeping with high standards at a high school and family friendly. And of course, that's very near and dear to us. So we'll be happy to talk with the type of advertisers we go to, and also the type of revenue that we generate at other schools like this and that we expect to generate at Gateway, so that you can get a feel for also what the school or the district's share of the revenue is in that, to cover any cost. The cost to the district or to the school are minimal, right? So let me first show you a couple pictures, and that I think always helps to show rather than tell what we're talking about here. So we've done a few different sizes, and I'll get into them, but for the most part, what we do is a 17-foot wide by 10-foot high board on one end of the gym. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Thank you.
So that's a 17 by 10 right there. And on the other side, we do a 12 by 7. But these, you can see how sort of crisp and beautiful it is. This is the best equipment in the industry. We went big. It's about as big as you'll find in a high school. And it is really high quality. And it's because it has to be an investable asset for us. And we want it to work great and last a long time. We want the kids to get excited about using it and creating content for it. And we want the fans to get engaged with it, and we want the Jumbotron experience, and we want sponsors to want to be involved in it. And sponsors, at least at any sort of meaningful level, they want something that they can feel like is an investment in advertising or in marketing, and not just a donation, which is effectively what banners are. So anyways, that's why we go the sizes we go. And just to give you a few nearby ones, that's also the 17 by 10. And you can see this is McGill Restoration. That's these home service businesses are kind of a popular category for us. These boards here are a little bit bigger, and there's quite a few of them, but same package, same program. Raising Cane's is a sort of popular one for us for a number of reasons, but you can see everything we do. Here's Woody Buick GMC. We work with a lot of hospitals and healthcare systems, banks and credit unions, car dealers, all the home service businesses. So roofing, siding, windows, doors, pest control, all that good stuff. Here there's a hotel brand that's not as popular for us but it works in certain markets. Here's SSM Health. Okay, so you get the idea of the type of sponsors we go after. It's all really, I would say more than 80% of our business, maybe 90% of our business is local. We really want this to be a conduit between the community, the business community that is, and your community of families, students, and whatnot, because ultimately it's those businesses that want to reach your households and household decision makers, which are the parents that pack the stands, and so that's really like who we go for. So I think there's some concern from time to time that it's going to be the big national brands that come up and buy up all the inventory, and as much as great as that sounds, it just doesn't work that way. We work with primarily local businesses, and we provide them an opportunity to reach your community and your audience, and that's sort of that's where we fit into the world. So the equipment at our expense, it's roughly $152,000 of equipment for those two boards and all the servers and racks the computers that go into running them. It's all cloud-based. And then we sell advertising as a means to recoup our investment and ultimately do a revenue share with the school. So as I say, we've done this all over the country. It is truly, and it sounds so cliche, but it's really a win-win. And the school gets their win really up front, because these boards go on your walls and you have full use of them as if you paid for them yourself, but you don't have to pay for them yourself. The school or the district pays for power and data to the site of each board. So, and those specs have been provided, but certainly can be provided again. And just in terms of what power and data is required, data is just Cat 6 cable. Power varies by school, but, in terms of how long ago the gym was built. And then the school pays for the annual software license. Now, that's not to me. That's a different company. That's a company called ScoreVision, but it is a software that we use almost exclusively. And it's because they have a lock on cloud-based delivery to scoreboards, or I should say scoreboard software cloud delivered. All the other software out there gets delivered. Like, we would have a Dropbox file and we would upload files, and maybe Don or somebody on site would download the files, and it's kind of a clunky system. So in order to deploy this program effectively nationwide, and really just to take the onus off of the school, we understand that nobody over there at that table or, in the athletic department or anywhere else needs another job. So ScoreVision allows us to run this completely via the cloud without taxing anybody else. All Don or anybody else has to do is turn on the board to keep score for a game, and the ads will be there and will run, and don't require anything. No invoicing, no artwork creation, all that stuff, sales calls, we make all of that. Now, that software license is $7,500 per year. I'm guessing everybody, that everyone knows that at this point. That's really the only ongoing investment for the school at that point. Now, we have a revenue share program that is part and parcel with this, and it's effective day one, meaning we don't recoup our investment first and then go on a revenue share. The revenue share is available on day one. It's 25% of any business that anyone on that side of the table, if you will, but basically with Gateway High School, with the district, coaches, administrators, unit parents, boosters, they'll get there's one referral link, and you can spread it far and wide. And then anybody, it might be your realtor or your car dealer, we really want to work with those people. And 25% of the revenue that results from those from day one in perpetuity it goes to you all. So we have schools that got $152,000 worth of scoreboards and are now, like 3 months later, getting a check for $10,000. So that's how the program is designed to work. It's really designed to align our incentives. And I think I started out by saying it really is a win-win. Like your win happens pretty early. This technology and these boards are fantastic. When you see them, and if you've seen them at any of your area schools, they're phenomenal. And the kids they're quite literally the biggest educational tool on campus. The kids will get really into using these, and there's 1,001 uses for them. And then we get our win a little bit later, which is as we are successful with a sponsorship or advertising program, we'll make a return on our investment, and that's more of a long-term play. But that's the business that we're in. So let me take a breath or a pause there and make sure I'm answering the questions that you actually have.
Yeah, just real quick on the revenue share, just to clarify, because I'm sure you've spoken to the Gateway Board before. There's a number of us that are.
No, this is our first presentation.
Some of us are kind of brand new to this whole proposal. Sure. Just the revenue share is 25% of any advertising that Gateway itself sells. Is that correct?
You don't have to sell anything. No sales involved. All you have to do is sort of throw it over the transom to us in this. It's called a referral portal. It's a link. It takes about 15 seconds to fill out. It would just be, hey, this is my realtor, or
So any advertising that comes from Gateway is where.
Yes, any advertising that comes from referrals that come from Gateway get 25%, and that's not to be stingy on our part. It's really purposely to create like alignment. I mean, our risk is that if we put these boards up on the wall and nobody, not necessarily a Gateway, but nobody at our partner school does anything, right? They just say, hey, we got our boards, we're good, that's what we wanted. And then my team has to go hustle for all the revenue, right? We will do that, and we're staffed to do that, but it's not our preference. And I would much rather pay 25% of the revenue in order to align our incentives. So that's really how that is designed.
So let me understand this. Even if we do the referral, you will still continue to be out there trying to get the ads in addition to any referral that we come up with. So we're doing something in addition to what you're saying, and that we could recoup the monies for the $7,500 software fee by potentially that 25%.
Yes. My expectation is that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
My expectation is that the $7,500 would easily be covered by the referral fees, maybe 2 or 3 times over. And I'll explain the math there. So, we think that we'll do in the first year, call it $50,000 in sponsorship here. And so if 25% of that it goes to the school, and it very well could. We have a lot of schools where that is the case, where either all or most of it comes from the school referrals, and upwards in years 2, like maybe twice that in years 2 and 3 and beyond. So, I mean, it's not accidental that we're talking to you all at Gateway. You have a great school. You have the right kind of community for us. Good businesses in the area. You draw crowds to games. I mean, that's stuff that we can sell. And so we think that $7,500, we should hit that flying over in terms of annual revenue. For you, that is. The other thing about that is we generally do 3-year sponsorships. That's our term for sponsorship. So what that means is that if you're getting $7,500 or $10,000 or $15,000 in year 1, you're likely getting that already in years 2 and 3. And that's before we even get to years 2 and 3 to add on revenue to that. So it adds a level of sort of predictability for you there.
Question: the ads that are on the scoreboard, are they moving ads or are they stationary?
They are primarily static. At the very highest level, like a hospital, for example, is likely to be a title sponsor. And at the title level, we give them between either a 15 or a 30-second commercial effectively. At halftime or whenever the administration says that there's a break in the game script. And so halftime's kind of the longest break, so that's usually a pretty popular one, but some people do between the third and fourth quarter. So that's what we would call a full motion video with sound, but that doesn't happen during the game. There's no action going on, so we're careful not to be running video behind the backboard or something like that. That's something we're sensitive to. So for the most part, they're static.
So will that video take up the whole screen?
Almost. Let me show you. I don't know if I have one handy. Let me see if I can find one on this.
While you're looking for that, does it do replays?
It can do replay, yes. It requires, so we don't mandate that the school does it immediately, because it does require basically with this board, you're going to get 2 iPads, and one is the scorekeeper. That basically is a really intuitive way to keep score. I mean, we've had 4th graders do it. And the other one is a producer app. And that's where you get into some more fun things, like maybe you want to do a hype video. So someone has to trigger those things using the producer app, but not everybody, or the producer iPad, not everybody wants to do that on day one. So we can run video, we can run instant replay, but it may take a little bit of time before, there's students that want to do it, for example, or, not every school has the sort of technology faculty. But if your school does, I mean, we've seen schools ramp really fast and start doing that right away. It's kind of go as fast as you want. This picture that you can see here, which has Raising Cane. Oops. Okay. So this one here, that's full screen, and that's SSM Health. But this one here is a little bit more typical. So yeah, Raising Cane's is the cinema portion of the screen, but below that, US Bank is the panorama portion. So that's kind of a popular layout. So oftentimes, like if there's a timeout, it will take up about 90% of the screen with the ad, and at the bottom we leave what's called a score bot. There's another example, and the score bot just tells the time remaining in the timeout and the score and things like that the referees and coaches and everybody else likes to see.
What type of warranty, if any, is on the scoreboard?
Yeah, no, really good question. And there's significant warranty on the scoreboard. It is 7 years on parts and 5 years on labor. And so that's pretty long in the LA. That's the reason I bought from the manufacturer that I did with this particular program. That's exceptionally long. But the other thing is that LED has evolved so far that first of all, it's a lot more reliable than it was 10 years ago. And now these LED panels they pop on or off with like sort of fingertip pressure or finger touch pressure. So if something goes wrong with it, there'll be 3% spare parts. And, that's going to cover the things that generally go wrong. So that is, power supply and LED panels. That's probably 80% of what goes wrong with LED anymore. And all of that stuff can be sort of easily replaced. If it's in the warranty, then it's covered by the warranty. If it's beyond the warranty, as I say, 80% of it is LED panels and power supply. And those are like $300 fixes roughly. I mean, $200 to $400, let's say, the fixes. So, as I say, it's come a long way. It's not like a plate glass window like it used to be, or like your TV where if it gets whacked with a ball, it completely like spider cracks. It is it's a series of small LED tiles, and each of those can be replaced.
I just want to follow up with this. Of this particular scoreboard, how old is the oldest one you guys are currently using or have up?
Oh, sure. Let's see. Well, this particular one, I mean, these weren't available a couple of years ago, right? So this particular one, Well, yeah, I mean the LED technology has evolved so fast and so far that we've just bought the newest, greatest product or latest and greatest product. So this particular one we've probably had, I'm trying to think. I mean, I've had one for 3 years at a school in Missouri. But some of the schools where we've had 3 or 4 years, we bought older technology at that point, which most of the like this is way better essentially. So, but even those, I mean, we have boards that have, even though like we've only been in business 5 years, but we've got schools that we've taken over their LED or their sponsorship program, and their boards are 10 years old. In fact, I was at a game on Friday night in Omaha, Nebraska, and those boards are 10 or 11 years old, and they look like new. I mean, stuff, goes wrong like it does with anything, but boy, it looked like $1,000,000. I mean, these aren't the kind of things that crash out. The only real catastrophic stuff that you see with this, at least that I've ever seen with this, and I actually haven't seen this happen, but that is a lightning strike. So that's why these boards need to be insured. Because that can, something like that could sort of fry it. But as part of the contract, the boards get insured when they get, affixed to the wall of the school. It will generally go on the schools or the district's policy, and you'll want to be insured for that. But there's generally no cost to do that. But that's the only time it ever, is sort of something more than a small fix.
Would you train our maintenance to do the easy fixes?
Definitely. So, yep. In fact, I believe it. I can barely nail two 2x4s together, but I can change out the LED panels on these things. So we can definitely, between us and the installers and the manufacturer, and then ScoreVision will be your ongoing relationship, as that'll be our software partner. That's who you'll call if something goes, wrong or something. But yes, we'll train the staff. And if you have a lift, if you have like a scissor lift, that's great. Then it's really easy. But I've leaned a ladder up against the wall, is off, and popped them back on again.
And Susan, what was
Okay, and I was going to say, kind of following back on the last question, if you had a malfunction or problem with the scoreboard during a game, now, how accessible are you to, get to?
Well, I wouldn't be the guy you'd want to talk to, because I'm not great if I'm the guy who has to call somebody when when I need something. So I couldn't tell you technically, but I'll tell you there would be 2 calls we would make, and we'll have these numbers on hand for you. And it's part of the reason I work with these 2 suppliers. But the first one is going to be to ScoreVision. ScoreVision is a software company. That's who you're going to be paying the ongoing annual software license to. And with that license, part of what you get is constant support. If you have a game on the calendar, if anyone in the country has a game on the calendar, ScoreVision has people standing by, and they answer the phone first ring. It's pretty remarkable. And they can solve about 80% of these issues. Most of what goes wrong is like a software issue and not a hardware issue. So, but if it is a hardware issue, then we would work with the supplier, which is called Digital Scoreboards, and they are equally as responsive. I mean, I think their average hold time in 2025 was like 61 seconds or something like that. So, really, really good service. But I'd say your first call would be to ScoreVision. And again, that's who you have a sort of an ongoing, subscription license with. And so it makes sense that they would be on call for you. And then they can remote into the boards and tell you, and do remote diagnostics. A lot of times they'll have a confidence cam on the board, so they can look at it and tell you, or, they can see for themselves what's going wrong. And they can fix it probably in, I would say certainly almost all cases. And if that doesn't work, we've got digital scoreboards, that you would call next. But I can honestly tell you, I've never had it go that far. It just always gets worked out. ScoreVision is really, really good at this stuff. And that's the only kind of problem we've had yet.
And the insurance is not doubling up on terms of what you're paying for through the software. Our insurances wouldn't be paying also software too, would they?
No, those would be different costs. Yeah, the insurance is more for if the board, as I say, if it gets fried because the school gets hit by lightning, or I can't think of really. Well, I mean, here's an example: the gym burns down, and the scoreboard gets burned down with it. that we just need this board to be insured so that we are in line as a loss payee.
And Mike, this is something we practice.
Right.
And, okay, all right.
Yeah, we just had that, we had that storm last year in April. It hit
Yeah,
certain buildings.
right.
But-
How long is our contract
Yeah, how long
with
is the
you?
contract?
It's a 10-year agreement with us.
Okay.
What is the educational benefit beyond the athletics?
Great question. It's tremendous. So you can use these boards when they're running a game. They'll run Score Vision, but any of the other time they're just gigantic monitors or educational devices. So a lot of people will use them for, commencement ceremonies and signing days and pep rallies, and gym teachers will just hook it up to a laptop and run yoga videos during gym class, or plug in heart rate monitors and show everyone's heart rate up there, during gym class and different exercises. And so you can literally do anything with them. The only thing we ask is that you use them. I mean, that you run Score Vision and use them as scoreboards during games. But what we've seen, I mean, the first school we ever did was in Abilene, Kansas. And there was one freshman that was kind of interested in this sort of thing. And he really ran the board. And then before you knew it, by the time he was a senior, there was probably 100 kids that were fully involved in running this. On game night, there would be 20 kids on any given night who previously wasn't sports, but then running these boards and creating production and creating content for it and doing live event production became their thing. And he went on to run the football board during K-State football games, but they've created kind of a culture of learning and technology, with these boards being the biggest component of that. So, now they do green screens, and they do all the hype videos and player intros and things like that. So they've got a whole class now dedicated to the scoreboards and the technology around it, but you can use it for any of those things. I mean, if you can plug a USB into it, you can run it on these screens. I mean, this isn't so much an educational benefit, but in terms of other ways to use these boards, we've had schools do big game watch parties, where you plug in, you just use it as a big TV, and you sell concessions and T-shirts and things like that. We've had schools do Madden tournaments or video game tournaments. So there's a number of ways to use these for educational benefits and also for fundraising outside of advertising.
So you could,
As educational.
Yeah, it's under our esports.
I'll say that.
We have a whole class wrapped around esports.
so you could tie this in with like our esports competitions, robotics.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I wish I had it ready. I've seen it used during a robotics competition. But yes, you could. I'm just thinking, like, let's say you do the esports thing, and maybe the champions, tournament of champions or something, the final apex event could be on these big boards in the gym for everybody to see, and that could be sort of like the crowning event. Yeah, you can absolutely do it for all those things.
Would that be also class that they could bring in as far as curriculum to teach how to create things for the board?
Yeah, in fact, there's a program called Score Vision Academy. And I don't want to take up the board's time with finding it, but if you give me a second, I think I could probably find it easily enough. But there is a program called Score Vision Academy that comes with this, and it is fantastic. Here, if you give me 1 second, it was sort of one of the things. It was, we've since gone on to do a lot with Score Vision, but it was one of the things that attracted me to them in the first place. Was this Score Vision Academy. I'm just hoping I have a copy of it handy, but it's a full year-long classroom guide. They stopped short of calling it a curriculum because I understand, that's a specific definition and it has to go through a certain process, but it is a full year-long classroom guide to creating content, writing game scripts, everything that you can do with these boards. Score Vision has a class to teach how to do it.
Oh, that's like a YouTube site channel.
Thank you.
That's inclusive, you said, with this, we don't pay extra for this, correct?
You do not pay extra for that. That's included in your annual software license.
And at the end of the 10-year agreement, we own this, or what happens at the end of the 10-year? Because you haven't gotten that far with a lot of your things.
Sure. No, but it's you're right. We haven't hit that 10 years, but we do stipulate it in the contract. So you have 4 options, and it's important for you to know that they're all your options, and they're designed to not obligate the school in any way. So first one is we just let it roll over year to year. Things are going great. We just want to kick the can down the road, or you want to kick the can down the road, and you can just keep it going. Let it roll over year to year. The second would be we could do a 5-year extension if you're happy, and then all revenue share goes to 50-50 at that point, regardless of referral or not. The assumption is that we've made a return on our investment at that point. But regardless, if you decide to renew for 5 years at that point, it goes to 50-50. Another option is you can buy the board for fair market value. That's not because I want to make money on it. It's because the IRS actually, that's an important distinction for us. It's important to the economics of this that we are considered the owners of the board until then. And I would say it's $1 buyout. Like I would, you can buy it for $1 at the end of the 10 years, but that the IRS takes exception with that. That would be considered a bargain purchase, and that would affect our ability to depreciate these for tax purposes. So that's the reason we don't do it. But it's a fair market value buyout, and you can just sort of think through 10 years, electronic equipment doesn't have a tremendous amount of monetary value. They'll be working great and they'll look like $1 million because they're 3.9 millimeter, which is about as tight as you can get. And technology can only go to 0, right? So these are going to still look great at that time. But for me to come and remove them and put them somewhere else or sell them, they just wouldn't have that value. So, you can expect that would be a nearly free. I just have to be careful what I say there, but the point is the fair market value, and that should be a tremendous discount. But you are not obligated to do that. You might say that, and then the fourth option is, hey, we did a bond and we have our own money and we want to buy the new boards ourselves and run the program ourselves. And then we would just come and remove the boards. You could put your own boards up, or you could work with us and do new equipment at that time. So any of those are your options, but it's designed such that they're supposed to all be good options and not obligate you to anything, to taking equipment. Some people don't want the equipment after 10 years. Or then they don't want to be saddled with that. They just want new equipment. And so that's the reason we've set it up that way.
So you don't do refurbish?
We do currently. No, we've never done anything with refurbished, and I don't see myself getting into that business. LED is too, it's not so prohibitive that we can't buy it new, and we just like to deal in new product.
Coach Hall, how old is our current scoreboard in a gym? Do you know?
I did reach out to a couple of people to try to get an exact number, but it's at least 12. It might be 20. It might have been the original boards that came in when we put in the sports complex.
So your idea would be if we would approve this to move the scoreboard that's in the sports complex over to the auxiliary gym? Or
yes, that was the original plan. If we keep the auxiliary gym as a competition gym, there's been some facilities discussions where we're redoing Mosside Middle Gym and doing some competitions there. We might put it in that gym instead. Wherever we're playing competitions on campus that would need the scoreboard that we have in the sports complex now would be an upgrade to the ones that are in those other facilities. So we would also not have to buy a new one for Mosside. We can move that over, or to the Aux Gym if that stays in play.
Okay, thanks.
The current scoreboard keeps accurate time and score, correct?
It does. It's fully it's just analog, and it's certainly it's been good to us, and it works. Yeah.
I don't know who has the answer to this. Micah, John Walsh, I don't know who it is. But one of the responsibilities we have is cable. And there's different kinds of cable which cost different amounts of money. Do we know yet, or we looked at this and find out what our responsibility, because we'll be responsible for the cable and doing the work in the gym, correct? So have we looked at that and looked at any prices on this and what that's going to mean to us, the part that we'll have to do? Do we know?
we have looked at that, and the basically the wiring for the plugs is just we're going to pay for the wire and the sockets and the plugs and what goes along with that with the breakers, and obviously would put surge protectors on something like that because it is such a large investment. We're probably looking, for the electrical part of it, maybe $1,200 at tops, because we would do all the cabling, because we have the lifts and the capability to do that with 2 electricians on staff, and then we would pull any wire that Micah would need to the board and to his closet, then the board company and Micah would do the hookups.
Okay.
What are some of the schools, are there any in the area that have these boards?
Yeah, let's see here.
I saw Montour was one.
Yeah, we've got Montour. We have boards at Canon McMillan, although they bought those boards. They brought us in sort of later. So in that area, I think it's just Montour. We've got boards throughout Pennsylvania, but just on that side of the state, it's really just Montour so far. And we're probably getting to a point where we're going to pump the brakes on Pennsylvania because we have a significant investment there, and we want to, sort of diversify risk a bit. So it's likely that we would do Gateway, but not another one for a time.
Thanks.
Sorry, I had a question. So the $7,500 annual software fee, how many schools have not covered that based on their revenue?
The 30 or so that we did recently, I mean, we probably have, well, none of them have been up for a year because this program we just really rolled out in 2025, and this was our first basketball season with it. We don't have, I don't think, any schools across the country where we producing revenue to cover that amount for the school if we've been up for any significant period of time. But and I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. There may be one or two, but I don't think so. I mean, the bigger, that's a good question, and I'm not trying to brush over it. If the school isn't getting 7,500, the implication is that we're only doing 30,000 or so or less in revenue. I mean, we would be in the hurt box in terms of our investment there. So you have us significant, we are vested, right? We are the, we're committed in this meal. And so, if the school weren't getting 7,500 after the first year and beyond, we would, I would argue we would be in worse shape. But I don't worry about that. I mean, not with the schools that we've reached out to, such as you all.
Okay.
If that were to happen, would you help with a strategy for that not to happen on day 2, since that part is actually your business and not the school board end?
Yeah, I would be pulling every lever to maximize revenue. If we were doing, let's just say that we were doing $20,000 after a year. And maybe you all were in for 5,000 of that. So we're falling short of your 7,500, but we're only doing 20,000. I would be well short of where we underwrote this, and you would have my full participation in terms of seeing liftoff here. And that's really the beauty of the program, is that it is designed to align our interests, and so that you all are interested in providing referrals, because that's the quickest way to climb out and to revenue. And I'm fully invested in your boards at that point. So you would have our full attention. I mean, I don't anticipate that that's going to be the case, but at the end of the day, it's fairly straightforward. We know all the categories that do this sort of business, and we would work with, what we consider our sponsor team, but in this case, headed by Don. We would be in communication weekly about who we're talking to, how it's going, referrals that you may have given us and how they're going. And so it's not the kind of thing we would just wake up in 12 months and say, oh boy, we're only doing, $20,000 or $30,000. It'll be a constant, conversation between now and then. But the question was, would you have our cooperation, or would we be getting creative with you? And I wouldn't wait a year to do it. You'll have our cooperation and creativity immediately, because nobody wants this to climb out faster than me.
You said you're leaving Pennsylvania. If you get Gateway, then you've got people on the other end of the state. You have Montour here. Where's your sales staff? Because if we give you leads, you're going to have to do the selling. We're not
Oh
going to.
yeah, we do all the selling.
So
No.
where's your sales staff going to be if you're going to not be in this specific area or in the state?
Well, we have a big commitment to the area. We probably have 10 or 12 schools. Off the top of my head, I don't know the exact number. So we are committed to the area, but we are in maybe 23 states. And so, we've got 12 salespeople. So we're covering all of our schools, but it's impossible as much as I would like it, right? At different times, I've had people that have lived in the Lehigh Valley, for example, and because we had a sort of a concentration there, but can't really be everywhere. So, our office is north of Chicago and most of our sales team is here. And, when we started this business in COVID, when you couldn't meet with anybody face to face, and we sold up many of our schools during that time. So, we're pretty adept at driving sales remotely. And most of our businesses, are easy to communicate with that way, whether it's a State Farm agent or a car dealer. I mean, I wish we could be hands-on in every market, but that's just not practical. But it hasn't stopped us from, hitting our sales targets with each of them. So we would have someone who would be responsible for a handful of other schools along with Gateway. And they would have our full playbook of best practices and what businesses to go after. And, and having them here in Chicago, where I am, helps drive sales, because this is sort of, this is where they get mentored, and this is where they get all the, all the playbook and best practices. So it allows us sort of tighter control and ability to affect our outcome with sales.
Well, thank you so much for your time. If any board members have any other questions, can we email them to Coach and he can reach out to your company?
Sure.
If that's okay. We want to be mindful of everybody's time and yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, take care.
We're going to move on.
There's comments.
Oh. Why isn't that here?
It's and.
It's Ian.
Oh, yeah. Do we have any any comments from, I got to put my glasses on, residents on agenda items? Anybody reach out to you? No? Okay. All right. Do we have any board member discussions?
No. Okay. I had a couple of things in one, and I'll try to be very brief with 2 comments and 1 statement. And we had already had, and maybe Leslie, I don't know if you're aware, we had a Gateway graduate who participated in the Super Bowl. 2019 graduate, Courtney Jackson. You can look that up and get more information. So we're very proud of him. And also, tomorrow, we have some students who will be attending a Black History Summit essay contest that will be at Soldiers and Sailors. And we have a few students who have entered the essay contest, and we're looking forward to hoping that they will bring home a prize for that. And my third thing is a statement, and I'll read it. As we begin to celebrate Black History Month this past week, once again we had witnessed heinous, I call it, behavior in high places. It breaks my heart. Every decent American should be outraged. On the social scale pages that some of our high officials follow showed our past president, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, depicted as apes. Needless to say, I was and I still am outraged. It was the most racist act coming from our so-called officials. The insensitivity is staggering. Because what kind of signals does that send to our children? It shows such contempt for Black excellence, such dehumanization for our history makers that can flow from the highest offices of our land without human accountability. The young people we steward and inspire to be, we want them to be all that they can be. And such blatant racism that was used to fuel hatred had been done by slaveholders, segregationists, and it denies humanity to people of color. As a people, we cannot stand by idly and be silent. I will not be silent. I'll not be complacent or complicit. But I do believe in our democratic system, and for that reason, I feel the best response for this is to encourage people to vote. And I mean vote in every possible election, and our dignity depends on it. And we want to inspire our young people to participate in our privilege of voting, and even if they enter politics. But hopefully they must lead with morals and values that this country does desperately lack. We need leaders who understand that character matters, and as Dr. King so aptly said, our worth is not judged by the color of our skin, but the content of our character. So it is our responsibility to raise up a generation who refuses to accept what occurred as normal behavior. Let us instead encourage people to vote for change if we really want to make our country better for everyone. I'm through.
Wholeheartedly agree that everybody needs to get out there and vote, and I say it up here many times. Thanks. Do we have any other discussions? No? Okay. And then items tabled from the previous meeting. Do we have any motions to untable this to put this on the regular meeting?
I move to do that, please.
John second.
And I like clarification on this. I apologize the last time I didn't have the information when we did the Zoom meeting. Are we going to discuss this?
Yeah, I was just going to say, does anybody have any questions? I didn't get it out.
This is just a motion to untable.
This is just a motion to this is just a motion to untable. John second. Does anybody have any questions about just untabling it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. So we can further have more in-depth discussion at the regular. Is that okay, or does anybody have any? Okay.
Could I have one quick question to Don Hall? Don, do you anticipate having more of an update for us for the next meeting on this? In other words, can the board look forward to more information, or is this
is different?
Wait, this is the government, and this is the principles of governance and leadership.
I thought we were talking about the school board.
No, we're done with that.
Okay.
Am I allowed to say something now?
We didn't add that scoreboard on here.
No, it's just a presentation.
Yeah, but it's tabled.
That makes this an action item, if I'm not mistaken,
Okay.
correct?
Yeah.
Now we need a motion to approve, or
No,
we move
we're
on and
just,
do that at the regular meeting.
yeah, we're gonna do that at the regular meeting, but go ahead.
There seemed to be a lot of confusion because my name was put next to this. This is not me. It's not Gateway, actually. This is what will be signed by Leslie and Janet. But this is the actual Principles for Governance Leadership and a Pledge of School Board Effectiveness from the Pennsylvania School Board Association. This is part of Act 55. And I just want to go over this because there seemed to be some confusion, and I apologize. When we did the Zoom meeting, I didn't have this in front of me. Act 55 amends the PA School Code and it mandates the PA School Board's complete required training. This act, along with amendments like Act 18, its intent is to improve governance skills, which is what this is, and this is part of what you get when you go through the training. Following re-election, or if you're newly elected, school boards within 1 year, in person or online, can go through training, and it's approved through the PSBA, which this is, which is the accredited provider for the trainings, and the Allegheny Intermediate Unit in conjunction with the School Board Association puts this on, I believe. Anthony, you went. And he spent Saturday at that. We got this when 5 of us went in 2024 to the training because all of this is part of the training. And what we got was a form that all 9 of us signed that we agreed to these principles, which in turn was sent to the School Board Association, and they, which is hard to see, but we're going to have it moved. We received all the principals. This is why they have the training, and part of it. All these points are part of the training. We got this because we all 9 signed off on it. All we're doing now is renewing this. We're just renewing these principles and saying, because every 2 years you have a new configuration of the board. And this time we don't all 9 have to sign it, because this thing says that only Leslie is board president and Janet as secretary has to sign it. So it has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the act and the training, and that we agreed to these principles 2 years ago, and we're just renewing those principles.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, if it's got nothing to do with you or any board member, is it improperly placed under how it was presented?
It was improperly, yes.
It's a board resolution, is it not?
It was, you're right, and it had my name next to it, and that was
I
not
understand
exactly.
it, but it's a section is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Is this an administrative resolution? Or is this a board member resolution?
Because it's PSBA, it's
I understand.
That's why I was under-
For purposes of our format.
Right, I would think it would be a board resolution.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says under here, on top, it says we're supposed to approve it through a policy or resolution of school boards. So it would be a school board policy.
So the school board, it's a board member resolution.
Yeah, I think going back a couple of years, I've taken this a bunch of times over my last 10 years, and I think they want, PSBA recommends that some school board member bring this forward as a resolution, have the board review it, and then approve it. I think
Yes.
the board member brings it forward.
And you said many school districts do it.
There's like close to 200, I believe, 200 plus that do. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuzzy memory.
Thank you guys very much.
And just one other point, this is much better than the way the state wanted it. What the state initially wanted was double the hours for training, and they wanted it to come through the Department of Education, which would have been their sticklers. So in many ways, we're better off with the way it came out than the way they originally proposed.
Ms. Dice, she mentioned was it Act 57?
Act 55.
Act 55. What are the repercussions for a board member not attending said training or signing this or voting for this?
Well, I don't think you have any obligation. You don't have to, you can vote whatever way you want, up or down, regardless. There would be no ramification for that. I'd have to look under Act 55. I don't know off the top of my head. But more likely than not, there is not going to be any type of reprimand or anything like that. I have to look at the Act,
As far as
though.
like not attending the training?
Yeah, I can't guarantee. I haven't read the Act per se. I could look it up and give you an answer tomorrow.
Thank you.
It does say though, Chelsea, that you have a year to do this.
To do it, but
You can
I
do
don't
it
know
online.
what the penalty, it's
I
their
don't
provision
know.
for penalties and
know.
you failure to do it. So for instance, any elected official here to be removed because you failed to do something, it would take 2/3 of the state senate. So that, to me, more likely than not would preclude any type of penalty against the elected official for failing to attend. But again, I'd have to read the act. I don't know it freshly off the top of my head.
Okay.
Because there's
Homework for you.
Homework, I can look it up.
Awesome. All right. Next, we have the minutes from the previous meetings, minutes from January 2026 study session, minutes from the Finance Committee meeting, minutes from the Policy Committee meeting, and minutes from the January 26th regular meeting via Zoom. We kept everybody safe on Zoom. And Mr. Zarellis, financial reports.
Thank you, Mrs. McBride. Item 6, financial reports. List of bills for February of 2026.
Mr. Brin, personnel.
Thank you, Mr. McBride. Item 7.1, we have 4 resignations. Item 7.2, 2 individuals who qualify for leave under the Family Medical Leave Act. Item 7.3, recommending 1 individual for employment as an assistant cook. Item 7.4, recommending the individual as an assistant softball coach at the middle school. And item 7.5, 3 individuals are recommending for volunteers.
Thank you. Dr. Chapey.
Thank you, Ms. McBride. Item 8.1, we have several policies up for approval as listed. Item 8.2, approve the 26-27 school calendar. And item 8.3, we have 6 policies up for display.
Thank you, Dr. Chapey. Mr. Zarellis, you're back up.
Thank you, Mrs. McBride. Item 9, administrative resolution 9.1, approve the Drum Corps International Use of Facilities request.
No board member resolutions.
Hold on, we've skipped a whole bunch of stuff. We have questions, comments, concerns. We've just sort of gone through and didn't give any opportunities for comments or questions.
Especially for those policies.
Oh, I thought we had. Go ahead, Donna.
On policies for approval, the one about the, that Rick had mentioned last time, 122.1 and the 123. So we put the academic requirements. It's now just buried in interscholastic athletics. I understand that's how PSBA renumbered them, but it is not clearly attached then to any, not that I could see in a draft, an extracurricular activity policy to say that that is governed by everything. It's now just stuck in a sports athletics policy.
What we can do is we could take that same exact language and drop it into 122.
Okay, and so could we get that added, or do we now have to go put it on the posting for 3 months? I guess.
There was some language in there. It was a little fuzzy, I guess, now that we went back and look at it, about administrative regulations and our current policy, but it wasn't explicitly stated as it is in the interscholastic one. So Chelsea, that'd be a question for you. This was on display, and if we want to make a change tonight before we vote, just to make it a little more clear. I don't think we're changing a whole lot, other than we're just making it more clear with the grades.
Was 122 wasn't changed? It's not on our.
Our current policy, 122.1, is the academic requirements for extracurricular activities.
No, 122.1 is non-curriculum related.
That's the policy that's up for review. The current policy on our books
The 122
is 122.1 is
It exists, and they're renaming it's the
This is
same
why I brought
number.
this up immediately when it's the same policy number. I was worried that this was all going to get jumbled and that our academic requirements for minimum requirements for participation was going to get lost in the wash.
122 isn't going
Just
anywhere.
let Janet.
Okay, you got,
yeah, that's right.
Those academic requirements aren't going anywhere.
Correct.
And 122
Is, policy 122 is the extracurricular activities. Policy 122.1, even in our existing, is, they're renaming it, they were saying non-curricular, not extracurricular. So this non-curriculum related, non-school sponsored would be, for example, your Girl Scouts, your Boy Scouts, anything outside of our district. The extracurricular would be the robotics, the musical, all of our activities that we sponsor.
And that's policy 122. That isn't being touched. It's not going away. It's staying in there.
Right.
Okay.
One of these is going to have to change the policy number, as far as I could tell. But
So Janet, the one that shows what our GPA is in which one? Where we're showing 123.
123.
Okay.
But there also is verbiage in 122 for the extracurricular that they have to meet all of the academic requirements specifically noted by the board.
That's
policy 122.
What we want to do is take that language and we just want to put in there.
I'm looking at it now. 122.1 is athletics and extracurricular activities.
Right, but now this is the new one. That's what we're
Correct, that's
saying.
the problem. If that's the new one, it doesn't include this language. So if that's replacing this.
But the 123?
122.1
I know where he's going.
I see it now.
is the new policy replacing this one, and if we're doing that, this policy goes away, and this language is not included in the new policy.
So it should be essentially 122.2, if that's what I'm hearing.
Yes.
Instead of
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Janet, go ahead.
So 122 and 122.1 are the same?
Janet, go ahead.
That's okay. 122 is still in there, in our active policies.
Yes.
Okay, so what they did, they broke out, they split the extracurricular and the interscholastic into two separate policies now instead of them being combined into one. 122.1 now will just be non-curriculum. So now there'll be three. They'll cover school-sponsored, athletics, and outside.
So the current 122.1 will now be called.
Correct. The name
Will now
will
be
change.
called what?
It will be called what is listed here, non-curriculum
With the
related,
current language
non-school.
listed.
Yes.
Correct.
So the language currently listed won't be there.
We can't control.
So that means that the requirements for.
What language are you looking for? The 2.0 GPA? That's in 123.
That,
But 123 is limited to athletics only.
Yeah.
It's athletic policy. You have to put it somewhere else.
122 and
no, ma'am, 122.1. I'm looking at the policy
We
now,
can't
Leslie.
control their grade point average in an outside, non-sponsored.
I'm not talking about the non-sponsored. We're talking about extracurricular activities in general.
Yeah, that's going, we're gonna make, listen, we're gonna make it a little more clear. If we have the batch, we have a batch 1 and a batch 2, it'll be very clear in the batch, this will be batch, what, Janet?
This is batch 1.
Batch 1, we take the definition directly from PSBA. What Dawn is referring to is we're going to be more explicit. We're going to take the interscholastic language and make sure it's in the extracurricular 122.
Because right now, Donna, I think it says in 122, you must follow all of the board policies, which would encompass 123. So Dr. Rossi has suggested that we just take that line instead of saying, please see policy such and such for the actual information. We'll take that 2.0 and put it in there explicitly. Is that what covers, that's exactly what you're talking about, like how that covers that?
Yes.
Yes. And we can have no control over 122.1 because that has to do with if somebody who is registered as a student becomes a Boy Scout in Troop 184, we can't tell Troop 184 he can't be a Boy Scout because his GPA is not 2.0.
Why is that in there? Is that always been in there?
They're
trying to break.
they're breaking everything
You
down.
say
So,
they,
real quick.
PSBA.
Quick.
I just never saw that before.
You're saying that the current policy that you know I'm talking about with the
Yes.
grade checks,
Yes.
that's staying intact?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Dice,
Yes.
if we were to make a motion to change the number of this policy on our current board,
You mean
a
the,
different number, would that require a 30-day display, or could we just vote and change it now?
I think you can vote and change it now because it's de minimis. It's just indicating if it was a 122.2, 3,
Right, so-
4, but you're not changing substance of.
I'd like to make a motion to change the current 122.1 policy to 122.2. Then all of this is done.
We
So
can't
then
do that.
what is,
Through PSBA policy development, we follow their numbering.
Right, we still will.
no, that doesn't follow.
If you change it to 120.
I'm changing the one order on our books, not the one that we're approving.
So you want to get rid
The
of,
current policy on our books is 122.1.
It's called athletics and extracurricular activities. I'm looking at
If we
that.
change that, first of all, we shouldn't be discussing this till we have a second.
I thought we did.
Do we get a second?
We did not.
No.
Well, wait.
Thank you.
Okay.
So if we change what's on our books now, the new one coming in stays what the PSBA wants it at 122.1, and there's no confusion or possibility of things being overlapped.
And you're saying move the current 122.1 to 122.2.
Correct. And then
Not changing anything
leaving the one on display as
substantive.
122.1.
Okay, but is the 122.1 the one that we're dissecting and turning into 3 policies?
Is that going to create confusion? Do we have to do what they say as far as numbering?
Yes, as far as numbering, yes, but as far as content, you have the ability to change some of the content as long as it aligns with their legal citations.
What is in 122.1, Rick, that you want to have double the policies?
He wants a grade point.
I don't want it doubled, I want it changed so it stays in place.
He
It's
wants
the
the
it's the
extra
2.0 GPA requirement with a 9-week, a 3-week, and a 6-week GPA.
That is staying in place under 123.
No, because he's saying that that only deals with athletics and not extracurricular activities.
And what she wants is for us to take that part of 123 and put it into 122.
I'm actually agreeing with Rick. We have content in 122.1 that addresses athletics and extracurriculars. We currently have changed it and only put in athletics. I don't actually care how you do it. You make it 122.2, that's great. But you can't just put it in athletics. You need to put it all of that somewhere. You either need to repeat it twice or make its own policy. You could do that either way, but we can't lose that against extracurricular. And we
I think
know
we're
all that content.
just going to take that, I think, and drop it in the other ones. Would be
Right,
the
that's what
easiest.
we just,
Then we
yeah.
have to re-put up for displays.
I don't believe so because it really is embedded in that
123.
120.
122.1 is referenced in 123.
Yeah.
So that makes it even funkier.
And that's what
We have to now
Donna,
change that.
that's
So
what
this is
Donna
just-
that's what Donna was saying. So Donna was saying, listen, it's in 123. It's only referenced in 122.
Right. So instead of the reference there, can we just?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. That's what we're
That's
doing.
what
Where that
Yes.
reference is.
That's what Dr. Rossi
We're going to
said.
copy and paste exactly and drop it in
All
there.
right, do we have to approve that?
I don't.
So, because you're changing technically 120,
Well, all
We're
we're
not
doing
voting
is,
tonight.
we're not. All we're doing is taking where it
There's
says
a reference
the site-
to
Yeah, there's
this
a reference
language
to
in
it.
123.
and you're putting
We're
it
taking
back
that
into,
reference out and putting 121 in there.
Where it's
into
referenced.
123.
Yes.
Yeah.
Inside, we're embedding it inside of 123. Where the reference
It's
point.
still amending though that
Yes,
policy,
I
and so I think you would have to do it, you would actually have to go through the appropriate policy
All right, we'll
changes
just
and readings.
put it back on display and then,
Versus,
yeah.
yeah,
make your motion.
unfortunately, even
Well, we
though we
have
already
to-
have it, it's not under that policy as it stands today. We
Okay.
can't just copy.
All right.
All right.
So 122 is gonna have to go on the display.
I'm just saying though, to appropriately pass it through policy, it's changing, you don't have it, you reference it, but you don't have it in that policy. And that reference of 122.1 is changing and not having that no longer in there. So now it's there. If you try to search it back to figure out how it got in there, the only way you're going to be able to do it is to follow the appropriate readings and going through the appropriate channels.
We'll put it for display and we'll vote on it in March.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, hold on, just procedurally. There's a motion on the table. Just do it up or down.
Okay, so
The motion on the table is to change the number. I think we've moved past that.
right, so anybody in favor of changing the
Before
number?
you vote, Janet has something to say.
I do, I'm very, why can we not just change the number of the existing policy?
That's what the motion on the table is.
Like, okay, so I'm.
You could do that as well, and
Like,
then you
would
don't
that
have
not
to
be
change
easier
one
than to
policy.
have it change every other policy?
Then you don't have to change. The
Well, we
problem
do.
is 123 reference 122.1
Correct.
for the grade point average. If you change up to 122.2, now you're gonna go to
We have to follow their
122.1 and it doesn't exist in
in their
there.
title.
So we would have, if we change the number, we also have to change
All
the
the other-
number inside of 123. Does that make
And
sense?
all the other policies. So what, so,
I would just like to pull it.
Yeah.
So if we just embed it, I think that's the best way to go.
yeah.
Janet, you
And we'll
can't
do it.
change
But
the number.
I have,
Can't
But I
change
have
the PSBA.
Right.
so we're pulling,
We need a vote.
okay, wait, so before we do this vote, what are we pulling? Like, I understand where you're coming from,
Yeah.
but 122 is not on this list of policies right now.
Yeah, it is.
It's draft. Yeah. 122 and 123.
122.1, where is 122?
Okay, we're gonna pull those three.
Okay, because 122 isn't even here to be revised.
Correct.
But Donna found that it's not referenced anywhere. Okay, so all in favor of changing,
Don't we want to hear from
Pull
John?
the. Can we just pull?
I was waiting.
Oh, you have
my turn.
another
Sure.
question?
So Chelsea, I have a question. Are we supposed to follow the PSBA's numbering system?
No.
So you don't have to follow any numbering system, but
Okay, so-
you guys use PSBA, and they're a great resource for you guys to when there's changes, quick changes throughout laws and things like that, in their numbering system, they're gonna refer it to their number, and it'll be a nightmare for you in the future if you don't line up.
That's what I'm getting to. So therefore, if we create a 122.2, if we create something out of thin air called 122.2, and next week PSBA creates their own 122.2.
You will be in that
We
situation.
will have a collision. Therefore, what's your suggestion?
And doing exactly what Dr. Rossi's saying, pull it, take what the grade points and everything that you want, put it into 123 how you want it, and now you only have 122.1, and you won't have a 0.2 at all.
I just don't understand what we're pulling. 122 is not up for
Okay, let's
display.
vote this down, and then I'm
Yeah.
gonna make a motion to make that change, and we can discuss it then.
Yeah.
All in favor of changing the numbers? Opposed?
Aye,
Aye.
nay, or whatever.
Everybody
All right, it's down.
opposed to changing?
I don't want to change the numbers.
Okay.
So
Is
now,
everybody in agreement? We are not changing the numbers.
correct.
Is that a?
What are the
is that
policies in
ayes?
question?
Ayes?
And I'm gonna, Chelsea, I'm not sure about procedure here, as far as changing this, I don't think we need to make a motion and approve.
we'll do it
moving
next
the
meeting.
Language, we just let him do that.
Yes,
And then present it to the board.
Yes.
for
You would
approval.
present it.
Okay, so just to clarify this, okay? I'm getting old. In the one paragraph, under 123, okay, the current 123, it says, any further discussions regarding student participation must follow the process dictated by Administrative Regulation 122.1, R, athletics and competitive extracurricular activities. That, if I'm not mistaken, that's the language we're talking about here, where you have to have a 2.0
Correct.
So instead of that reference point saying 122.1, we're going to insert that language wholesale from 122.1 and embed it into 123.
Correct.
We're just basically combining those policies, but we do have to go through the approval process again.
Correct.
Is that gonna go into the extracurriculars also?
Yes.
Yes.
So in this one, this is batch 1. 122 is not in batch.
Life decisions right now.
Correct. So you don't have to table anything, or you can move forward. But Dr. Rossi and yourself in March can add it to the agenda.
Where?
We're a good place. We'll get this. We don't have to do this
Oh,
now.
here, okay. So in 123, batch
You're gonna repeat
1,
every word I just said.
your 2.0 is there.
Instead of the reference point,
It's already there, that's what we're changing. It's already in the batch 1.
we gotta move on.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. It's here. It's just not in 122, it's in 123.
Right, but it's referencing 122.1, which will no longer be the 2.0.
Right, that's what's changed. Did you see the draft of the 123 that was in our board docs?
I don't know.
We'll get you that, Rick.
There's another way out of this, rather than using the moniker 122.1 or any numbering system which could change from time to time and cause confusion. What you could do is use a moniker to describe what the language is, and then let whoever wants to find it go find it under some numbering, and allow the numbering flexibility to change from time to time as needed. So you would say, as referenced in, and then you name what the thing does rather than what the number of the thing that does it does.
Yeah, correct. Okay.
What we do in the standard world all the time to reduce
Makes
this
sense.
complexity.
Does anybody have any other questions on the policies?
I have one question. Okay, I don't want to open this up.
I'm sorry, let me just finish up. That way, what you don't inadvertently end up with is 2 copies of some language when some editor could come in and change a little bit of one language and fail to copy that change
Correct.
to the other set. In other words, there's a cascading effect of confusion, and we want to eliminate that.
Right.
Okay, so one question. Coach Hall, so the only ones that really are required are the WIPI and the PIAA, correct? As far as grading, point average?
Yeah, I think if I understand the question, Yes, there's no comparative outside the district that monitors whether our band students are thespians, our chess club kids, our robotics, esports. Nobody outside the district monitors that to make sure we're all on a level playing field. And there is really no person in the Gateway School District who checks all those extracurriculars unless the sponsor themselves is required to do that per their extracurricular activity per that previous policy. The only one that I'm aware of that follows the 3, 6, and 9 week check that's listed in 122.1 currently, and that would migrate to 123, I believe is what we're saying, is athletics. And that's because, again, we're monitored by groups outside the district like the WPIAL and the PIAA.
Correct.
So when it's in extracurriculars, then the band or whoever, the chess team, the esports team, that coach is gonna, or advisor is gonna have to do that. Okay.
Correct.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Do we have any other board member resolutions?
Well, hold on, back, we go back, shoot, I lost the agenda. The one about the facility use request for DCI, that's now a moot point. They have moved on to another facility. Section 9.1.
Yes. Yeah, the drum corps.
I talked to their rep today and they've moved on elsewhere.
Oh, they won't be in Gateway.
They're not using, they were trying to move several options forward and I didn't get the reason why, but they have moved on to something else.
Do I need to take, how did this come off the agenda?
Next week.
Okay, okay, all right. Thank you, Donna, very much. Sorry about that.
She did, yeah, we did.
Any board member resolutions? Any comments from residents on non-agenda items?
I think we scared them off with that riveting policy discussion.
I don't know how to print from here. Administrative?
So a couple things. Micah? Just wanted to thank our parents for their flexibility and patience over the past week and even today. Just for all the weather-related incidents that we've had with not only the snow but the cold temperatures. There's been some questions around the flexible instruction days and snow days. Essentially, 2 years ago, I believe now, that the PDE has made it more flexible for schools to count their days in terms of instructional hours or number of days. Before it was number of days and a certain amount of hours. So now it's just the or. They took away the and. So that allows the schools with flexibility so we don't need makeup days. We can count the flexible instruction days as school days. So that's essentially the difference of whether we have a makeup day or not. Technically, we have a lot of days built in already, not the actual makeup day in the school calendar that you're going to vote next week, but in terms of the extra time required, we have enough time. Depending on the school, we could have anywhere from 13 to 20 days extra that is required. So that's that whole thing. The flexible instruction day, there's also remote learning days. I mean, those two terms mean nothing to the parents, really, other than it's a remote day. So we use those terms interchangeably. Yeah. However, the state just requires us to record it differently. So any questions around that?
You sent out a survey about this?
We did send out a survey. Got a lot of great feedback. Parents are appreciative. They gave us some good comments. We also sent a teacher survey out as well because we want these days to be meaningful, the best that we can. So we're in reviewing and updating our FID day requirements. Probably go into effect next year, but we'll take some of the things that we can do that are doable now if we have to have a FID day coming up. But it was good. It was good to get the parent feedback and the teacher's feedback as well.
You can be able to share any of it?
Share some of that, yeah. Yeah. It's just closing here short. It's just closing this week, or yes, today.
We'd like to acknowledge and thank counselors within Gateway School District due to the National School Counseling Week. February 2nd to the 6th. We had an opportunity to visit a lot of the schools and see some of the great work that our counselors are doing with students. A lot of times on the surface, we don't get to see, the public doesn't get to see the huge impact that they're having on students. The Gateway Middle School had the advisory committee last week, and it was just amazing to learn some of the different programs that they have for students and how they're supporting students and ensuring that they have a great learning experience at the middle school. And we're also looking forward to next board meeting in March, where Gateway Middle School counselors are going to be joining us to share out some of the great programs that they have within the school.
Mike, I don't think of that picture. There you go. Okay, took a minute. So this is actually just a picture of the bulletin board here, to my right. I was in here the day actually Mr. Nigra from Evergreen and CSE brought these over. He was so excited because this was an integration between the art teacher, phys ed teacher, a second grade teacher, and so you could just see all the great work that they do. So we wanted to make sure we gave him a shout out for all his hard work. And then our student rep kind of mentioned this already. Just wanted to recognize those students one more time. And then I had the pleasure, actually sat next to Mrs. Warning there at Almost Maine. Students did a wonderful job. It was real intimate because we were on the stage and we weren't in the auditorium. So it was you're kind of like front and center, and the kids just did a wonderful job. So these are just some of the students who participated, and there's the whole cast. So I just wanted to recognize their hard work, and they're off practicing now for the musical. And then
Speaking of
musicals. Yeah, just as a follow-up, just wanted to send our condolences to the Larry Servi family. Larry served many years as director, and also the East End Kids, where a lot of our kids participated. And I know hit a lot of students and alumni pretty hard with his passing. So just wanted to send out our condolences to his family. We were awarded just a certificate for the Gateway Backpack Program from the Pittsburgh Regional Food Service Directors. They meet and give out their charitable giving committees. It's just a recognition of all the hard work for our backpack program. And there is a lot of work that goes into that. So this is just a nice recognition for those individuals who are involved with that. So thank you. All right, that's it.
Okay, board committee reports. I do know we had a couple of, didn't we have with some committees
We did.
in between? Yeah. Who had curriculum and finance
And policy.
Because there was so much in curriculum and equity, Dr. Rossi, you're going to provide, or did provide.
It was in the update, yes.
It was in the update. You can all look at that and it'll show you exactly, because it had the testing data, the PVAS data, the value-added data, and you can see that it was easily to follow with the charts and whatever. So I think it's better if you look at it. If you have any questions, you can go from there. Dr. Threet was talking about they're going to do that program again through the high school. I guess maybe possibly this time 8th grade is going to participate. I know Mr. Mock is stepped forward to help too. So that was discussed. Susan brought up one thing, and I think it was a valid point, and we need clarity on it. You asked about the leadership program at the high school, how the kids are chosen for that, and Mrs. Tottarello is involved with that. And I know at that point, I think Susan was told you would get that.
Miss McCrown is getting that information.
She's getting
yes.
that. I think we'd all like to know. And also, you have leadership programs in more than just the high school, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So can you just, when you do that, let us know in general how that works in the other buildings too?
Sure.
Is this all an extension of one another?
They each have leadership teams in each building.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
let us know.
sure.
And the only other thing, Dr. Rossi, the information that you gave us with the PVAS and whatever, I just asked Dr. Jakey, do you have the previous year's PVAS data so we can compare those two? Could you come look at it? I like your color-coded chart.
Okay.
Do you have another color-coded chart that was up on the thing that people?
Sure.
thank you. And policy meeting?
Dennis, we had a policy meeting.
We did.
We just listed many of the policies that are out there for review, and there's a ton of them, about 15 to 20 of them. Do you remember something specific from that meeting?
Well, we talked a lot about the AI policy and how there would be a need to revisit that periodically. The good thing is we receive these updates from PSBA, so that'll always be something that'll be in motion as far as any updates that come through that. But we went through the policies that are listed here on the agenda tonight extensively and talked about some of the updates that we got from PSBA.
I just have one other thing. Just wanted to announce that our head coach, Dawn Hall, was selected and named the Pennsylvania head coach for the Big 33 game for 2026 against Maryland. So just saying congratulations to him.
Where did they play that game?
And
Where did they play that game? Erie?
It's Cumberland Valley where they play the state championships, Mechanicsburg. It's Memorial Day weekend. There are two intrastate games, East-West games, big school, small school, and then on Sunday is the actual game versus Maryland. And just a little side note on that game, there's never been a Super Bowl played without a representative who had previously played in the Big 33 game. That streak was kept alive this year, so it's kind of a neat little thing they got going there too.
That's cool. Great. Okay. Thanks.
And Donna, we had a finance meeting with Lee Gallagher, who explained.
Yeah, that was actually before the last one.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I also wanted to give an update about Forbes Road Career and Technology Center. They had some setbacks with some heating issues and water issues, and they sent all of us board members an update. And if I can read out, it says the Forbes Road. So this update came Friday. It says the Forbes Road CTC administration wanted to share with you an update on the progress of the restoration project following the damage from the burst water lines due to the recent snowstorm. A combination of the snowfall amount and freezing temperatures created some significant damage in the building. Contractors continue to be on site, working to restore power, heat, and water to the affected areas while drywall repairs take place along with remediations for the damage sustained. A temporary broiler system had to be brought up from Kentucky, and the installation process is being finalized. The restoration efforts have continued through this past weekend, and the hope when this was written out was to go back into in-person learning this week. And I received an update as we were sitting here that they hope to have the temporary broiler system connected for in-person return, and unfortunately that didn't happen due to the temperatures through the past weekend, which caused a gas line to freeze. They've had contractors on site all weekend to try to help with this. They are anticipating hopefully into next week, but we'll keep everybody updated. When we were all away, apparently they had a water main break that went into the boiler system that literally just cascaded through a lot of their building. There was a lot of damage done to the building. The heat was off, obviously, so that brought the furnace low. They're trying.
So they're working remotely?
They are working remotely.
Which is for a hands-on kind of.
How do you do that?
Well, you can't go in 40-degree weather to go work.
How do you do that?
So the different schools have set up areas, if you can tell them what we're doing.
Yeah, it's hard for the kids, obviously, because it is we want hands-on. And the NOCD test, the test they take, that'll be coming up too. So I think what they're doing is trying to prepare whatever they can in terms of that, the NOCD exams for those students. But we have a place here for the students, so they have an option if they can do remotely from home, or we have a place here at the high school too if the students want to come in and take their class remotely here on campus. We will provide transportation.
I just want to say one other thing. Wednesday is our monthly food distribution, so if anybody wants to participate, the gates open at 6 o'clock here at the high school.
Mrs. Warning, I have another question for you. It's the 250th anniversary of our country, and you're always on top of all that.
Can we
4th of
discuss this
July.
next week? I mean, at our next meeting? Because
Do you
we have a
want-
meeting Wednesday.
Oh, you do, and you can update us and let us know what we can do to
Yes.
help her participate?
Yes.
Okay.
So Leslie, if I may ask Don Hall, Don, do you anticipate having any additional extra information or questions for the school board regarding the proposed digital scoreboards or not? You just show up. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other. Should we expect something or not?
Nothing's in specific other than the full proposal will be reshared.
Bingo.
Everybody has a full proposal.
And I just wanted to congratulate you on having a Super Bowl player, as one of your past athletes for the football team. Congratulations, Don.
What year was
We were definitely rooting for them to win so you can get a ring. And we actually had Jaquan Brisker in the playoffs as well. It's been a long meeting. Let me just jump in real quick. Our basketball team got their playoff pairing announced today. Our boys are going to host Indiana High School next Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Be a great game for all to come out. I'm sure the gym's going to be a great scene. You'll see some great spirit from our student section and our players on the court. We received a $1,000 donation in honor of Robertson Lewis Jr., one of our football players who was the 5A recipient of the Bill Freilich Award. Freilich Foundation sent us a check for $1,000 on his behalf, which is a really kind of a neat deal. And lastly, we've got, as winter sports wrap up, swimmers and wrestlers getting ready to go into sections and Whitfield tournaments, and we're going to have quite a representation in both those tournaments. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McIntyre did bring up this to our attention, and we have seen some of the community having concerns about different agencies being able to come in and out of the school districts or schools and ask what we have in place. We are going to let our solicitor, Mrs. Dice, answer that.
Sure. So we have had a protocol in place for several months now, and it follows essentially if any type of agency should come in for a warrant, that we have a protocol in place for a check system to make sure, in fact, the warrant is a valid warrant, a difference between a judicial warrant and an administrative warrant. We also look into notifying the parents, notifying the appropriate staff members, and really trying to negate any type of disruption for the educational environment for our students. So if there are any questions, to pull those agents aside and work with them until we can sort out whether it's the appropriate paperwork to move forward. And we have additional laws, including the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act that is in place for student records, as well as making sure, again, that everybody is notified and all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted before we would release any type of information about a student, whether they are a minor or over the 18 or older, and getting all the appropriate consents and allowing all the parents and the appropriate staff members to be in place so that nobody else feels disrupted and everybody feels safe.
And this information has been given to our staff.
Yeah, the staff is aware of it. I know that the staff has been provided this information, and I'm more than happy to work with the superintendent if there's any questions regarding it.
Any other questions? Does that work? Good. All right.
Motion to adjourn?
All in
Thank you.
favor?
Thank you.